Pay yourself first. This is one of the classic ways that people use to build long-term wealth, to compound their wealth over time and go from something small to something large in their bank account or in their financial investment accounts. Paying yourself first means that you are prioritizing yourself over any other obligations first, that you are taking care of yourself and your financial future before you pay the water bill or the electric bill or your car payment. You're making sure that you are going to be taken care of into the future. But in order to pay yourself first, you have to have a money system in place. You have to have all the elements aligned in order to make this happen. So I am going to teach you the 5 steps that it takes to build your money system and pay yourself first. Hello everyone, I am Colin and this is Harness Money. My mission is to help you build wealth. But before we go any further, you know what to do. It's time to smash that like button so that YouTube will show me some love. Now, let's get into the 5 steps that I have identified in order to create your money system and pay yourself first. The very first step along this journey is to create your financial goals. Financial goals are so very important. It's important that you actually figure out how much money you need in your life to become financially free. The FU money, the financial independence number. When you create a concrete number, it gives you something to work towards. You can break it up into smaller pieces. You can see which direction that you want to go or what your goals are in your life. When you have a financial number and a financial direction, it gives you some more motivation to make more money, to save more money, to just accomplish things in your life that you want to accomplish. So go ahead and figure out what is your financial independence number. What is the amount of money that you want to see in your investment accounts or in your bank accounts? Go ahead and write that down and use that for the future reference. Now, number 2, the second step into creating your money system is to set up your different buckets for your money. These are your accounts, your financial accounts. So that's going to be your checking account. That's going to be your 401k, your Roth IRA, whatever accounts that you want in your life to pay yourself first is what you need to set up, and you need to be able to have access to them. You need to know what the username is, what the password is, how you can deposit money, and how you can withdraw money from these accounts. Really, in order to create a money system, you only need 2 accounts, but a lot of people use many more than that. And the 2 accounts are your checking account and your investment account, your taxable brokerage account. And there are many of them to choose out there. You can have any bank account. The checking account, it doesn't matter as much as the investment account, because the checking account is really just where money will come in and reside in your account, and then we'll move on from there. You're not going to get a return on your money in your checking account. There are some accounts offer more than they used to, but it's not going to be a high percentage. It's not going to be 2-3% on your money. It's generally less than 1% on a checking account. So I would recommend that you just go with one of the big banks, or if you want more flexibility, you can choose an online bank like Ally or Robinhood or SoFi. But the big banks, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America will all be great just to park your money and then transfer it out to your brokerage account. The brokerage account is a little bit more important because this is where you're actually going to make investments, where your money is going to reside momentarily and then be invested into different vehicles like an ETF fund, a bond fund, individual stocks, whatever you decide that you want to put your money into. The investment account is going to make that happen. And the reason that this one is more important than some of the banks is because some brokerage accounts don't have as much flexibility or as many investment options as others. So the Fidelities of the world, the Vanguards might have more options than, let's say, a Robinhood account or an M1 Finance account, but they might also have more fees. So it's important to check both. Which one has the most options but charges you the lowest fee? You don't want to be putting money into an investment account only to see it disappear to a 1% fee or a 2% management fee. Don't let that happen. Make sure your fees are the lowest possible. That's very important when you invest your money into the market or any type of asset is that you get the lowest fees possible, because likely these will be assets that you hold for decades, that you hold for many, many years. And after a long period of time, that little fee really adds up to big returns. So always try and get the lowest fee possible. So we've talked about the banks. The banks are going to be your big banks, Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, or you can go with a smaller one like Ally. All of those will work great. And then my favorite investments account, this is not a recommendation, this is just what I use, are M1 Finance and Robinhood. I think that M1 Finance to me has the best software. Robinhood is the best for me for buying individual stocks. Now, if you want stocks or equities that are maybe not on the market or are sold on other markets, I would go with Fidelity. The software isn't as easy to use, but Fidelity has some great features going for it. So you might check that out if you want a wider range of investment options. But you will want to set up all of these different accounts before you do anything else. The third step in the process to pay yourself first is to make the connection between your checking account and your investment accounts. This is going to be your Roth IRA, this is going to be your retirement account, this is going to be your taxable brokerage account. You want money to move from your checking account to your investment account without ever having to think about it, because the more money that you see in your checking account, the more you think you're going to be able to spend on different things like going on a trip, or buying a new car, or paying for anything that your children need. Your children need new clothes, they need to go to college, so you want to put money into that investment account. But you want to make sure that money automatically goes from your checking account over into the investment accounts. That's very important. And also, it's important that you know the information to these accounts, so that you know your username and that your password, so you can log in at different times of the year to these accounts and make sure that your money system is still working the way it is intended, to make sure that these accounts are connected over time, because it's very possible with technology and with the age that we live in that the connection gets broken and that money just starts piling up and you don't see it actually moving over, that you don't think about it, that life gets busy, and so it's not actually being invested for you. You want to make sure that it is very easy and that you never have to touch your flow of money, that it comes in from your income to your checking account over into the desired retirement accounts. And that leads to step number 4 in this process, and that is your actual investments. So it's not enough to just move money from your checking account to your investment accounts. You actually have to choose what investments you are going to make, where you're going to put that money. Are you going to put it into an ETF, or buy individual stocks, or buy bonds for more steady income? What is your financial goals? This goes back to the financial goals that you set up in the very beginning. Are you more aggressive, or are you going to be more conservative in your style of investing? It's very important that you choose which investment style you are going after, because you are then going to choose investments based on your goal. So you want to make sure that money is going into your checking and then your investment account, and then you want to make sure that your money is going from your investment account actually into the asset that it is intended to go through. Now, it's very important that you choose low cost investment accounts, that your brokerage account is not charging you a fee or is charging a very low fee, because fees will kill your investment gains over time. You're likely to be invested into these assets for decades, for many, many years. So that fee really adds up over time. That is why these institutions really want to get people in early, because they're banking on the future value of money, that you are going to earn more and more money over time, and your investment account is going to get larger and their fee is going to get bigger. So it's very important that you reduce fees as much as possible. This is my gripe or my complaint with the 401k system. The 401k system is very fee laden, that you have a 401k operator that's taking their cut, and then you have investment firms that are paying to be put on the list of choices that you invest in. So there's just layers upon layers of fees that the individual investor is paying for. Now, it can probably be in their best interest to invest in a 401k because of the tax advantages, but that still doesn't minimize the fees that you're going to have to pay to your 401k provider. And then with 401ks, you don't have as many options as you would with a Fidelity or with the M1 Finance app. There's just not as many choices to invest in the 401k system because you're choosing from a list that they have curated. If other investments do better, well, that's tough luck. You can't put your money into those. So you really have to decide if the tax advantages, the tax deductions are worth it. If you're in a high tax income state like California or New York or New Jersey, it probably is worth it to try and reduce your taxable income as much as possible by maxing out those retirement accounts, the 401k or the 403b if you work for a nonprofit. If you have access to those accounts, you want to take advantage of them. But it's very important that you look into what assets you're putting your money into, and then you make sure that this happens automatically, that money goes into your investment accounts and it's automatically invested into your particular assets, because the less friction you have between the flow of money, the more successful you will be over time. The last thing you want is to see money going into this account and think, you know what, that money could be better spent on something temporary or something that may not be a necessity, or just going to pay a water bill. You want to set up your accounts for success in the long term. And this goes back to setting goals. All right, we've come to the end. The fifth step in this process, in the money machine, into paying yourself first, is going to be earning income. You have to earn income in order to pay yourself first. If you don't have any income coming in, then you can't purchase assets, or you can't pay yourself first, or you can't even pay your bills that you might have, like your Netflix bill or your water bill. You have to earn income in order to pay yourself first. Now, when I started this process, I was not making a lot of money. I was in the beginning of my career. I did not have much skills, but I really pushed to, number one, get more skills, to actually educate myself. When you get out of school, that is really, to me, when your education can really begin and can really blossom, is that you can dive into something that you actually want to learn. You can put all of your energy into a subject that you are really interested in or that you are really good at, versus a lot of times when you're in school, you're being dictated to what you have to take. You have to take so many foreign language courses when you don't want to, or you have to take English courses when you don't want to. It's when you get out is when you really have to start skill building, because the skills you learn in school are not always translatable to the workforce. So when you get out into the workforce, it's very important that you build those skills that are going to make more money, make yourself more valuable. This is the whole game. The more value that you can provide, the more income that you can negotiate or that you can request. It's up to you to negotiate more income. Nobody is going to come to you and give you a higher salary. You have to ask for it, and then you have to negotiate for it. So you want to build as many skills as possible, also make as many connections as possible. There's more ways than ever to make connections in this world. Now, a lot of them are happening online. I know this past year, 2020, has changed everything, but there's so many networking events and different ways to connect with people online these days than there ever have been before. You just have to reach out. The bigger that you can create your network, the more options. It just gives you options. It doesn't mean that you will get a better job or you will get more money. It just gives you more ideas, more ways to reach out to people and say, hey, what do you think? Or, hey, can you introduce me to so-and-so? Or are there any job openings that you know of? In my own life, I really have gone on so many different interviews in my lifetime with all these different companies. And it was, part of the process was just me figuring out, number one, what I wanted to do, or also it was just experimenting. It was also just making those connections, looking at companies and saying, you know what, do I want to work there? I don't know. I want to check this out. I want to check out, is McKesson or is the corporate 7-Eleven office or JCPenney or AT&T, are these places that I want to work, or are these just places that look good on the outside, but actually working for them is a whole nother story. You don't know until you connect with someone in those organizations. So a lot of times I would just reach out to HR people and say, hey, my name's Colin. What is it like to work here? Or is there anybody that you can connect me with that might have job openings? So it's not always about, I don't know, I think networking gets a bad rap. It's not always about looking for a job. It's just about creating ideas in your mind that you can leverage into your career, but that you make more money over time, that you continue to develop your skills, because you want to increase your amount that you're putting into your money machine. The more money that you can put into your machine, the more assets that you can buy, which leads to more freedom. The more assets that you can acquire in your life, the more financial freedom you will achieve. This has been the 5 steps to create your money machine and pay yourself first. Let's go through them again. Number 1 is to create your financial goals. You want to write down how much money that you need to reach financial freedom. Number 2 is actually creating the accounts that you need to put money into. So creating that checking account or creating those retirement accounts that you actually want to put money into those buckets. And then there's number 3 is actually creating the connection between these accounts, creating the system. So you want to have money flow from your checking account into the correct retirement accounts that you have available. That's very important. Number 4, I'm on number 4. Number 4 is to pick your investments, to have money go from your retirement accounts into the actual assets that are going to help you reach financial freedom. The whole game of paying yourself first is in order to acquire more assets, because number 1, assets are your employees, they work for you and they create more money on their own. So the more you can acquire, the more assets you can acquire, the more compounding that will happen. And of course, number 5 is earning money. You want to start to earn money, to put money into your machine, and then you want to increase how much you are earning over time. This has been how to create your money machine and how to pay yourself first. I hope you found something that was interesting and something that you didn't know before. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to smash that like button so that YouTube shows me the love, and remember, make good money choices. Till next time.